Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, December 6, 2023. I'm Rochelle Batiste with the details. The new EC$2 commemorative polymer banknote by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is now in circulation in all member states, including here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The note bears the image of legendary former West Indies cricketer and Antigua and Barbuda's living national hero, Sir Vivian Richards, and is seen as a symbol of hope which will inspire greatness in the people of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Delivering remarks at the official launch of the note on December 1st at the Sanders Grande Antigua, SVG's Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Information Technology and Chairman of the ECCB Monetary Council, Camilo Gonzalez, said it is the hope of the central bank to inspire all citizens of the Eastern Caribbean to reflect on the qualities, principles, and the excellence embodied in the image of Sir Viv, noting that the transition from an image that embodied a difficult past to the one on the commemorative note presents the hope of a new, confident, and exciting future. On the radio today, Acting Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel also commended the ECCB for the initiative, which he describes as historic.
Over the years, the ECCB has really stabilized our currency in the ECC Union. And so, in an effort to modernize and to continue that vein of stabilization, that the ECCB has launched this $2 note to help in that regard. You know, over the years, we would have seen the image of the Queen on the banknote, but the bank would have taken the position to give recognition to an Antigua. And of course, as you know, Antigua is a member of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, member of that grouping. And of course, Sir Vivian Richards, who is the master blaster, of course. He is from Antigua. He was a dominant figure in cricket. And so the bank took that initiative and has broken that historic legacy to which the image of the Queen would have been all along on the banknote in the ECCB. And so I know they would have had a long and hard discussion. The board would have, over a long period, would have discussed on this issue. The chairman, who happens to be the Minister of Finance here in St. Vincent at this time. Of course, every year there's a new chair, but at this time the chair is the Honorable Camilo Gonzalez. And so, under the great leadership of Dr. Antwine, who is a Grenadian, of course, in that the board took that bold initiative to have this historic change. And I know Dr. Antwine is someone who wants to see change. He has been managing the ECCB quite well since the passing of Sir Dwight Fenner. He has been really outstanding, and I really want to commend him for his work. I want to commend the board and the chairman for the work they have been doing.
Minister Daniel also commends the ECCB for its work in keeping the EC dollar stable over the years.
Of course, it has not been an easy task for the board and its management in terms of where we are with the EC dollar. Bananas, of course, was one of the major factors to which helped in terms of the stability of the EC dollar. But since the demise of the banana industry, that of course you do have other sectors moving forward. Tourism has been growing tremendously. Construction and other services have been doing quite well. And so the EC dollar continues to be an outstanding currency within the Caribbean and the wider world, of course.
Also on the radio today, Minister Daniel said Cabinet has concluded its budgetary discussions with all stakeholders on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 2024, which are expected to be laid in Parliament on December 19th.
You know, it is a regular practice of this administration.
Yes.
That the budgetary process, the budget time, that the Cabinet will seek to have discussions with a number of institutions, including the banks, the business sector, the farmers, you know, all of the important planks within our communities to which our economy is being built. And so, having concluded on the discussion, the Ministry of Finance is now putting together its final numbers for the estimates for 2024. I'm told that all things are in order, so that the document is scheduled to go to the country by this week, and that all the deadlines have been met. And so we look forward to having the estimates laid in Parliament on the 19th of December.
Communication specialist of the Global Green Growth Institute, Danish Daswani, said green entrepreneurship is a new trend that is growing in the Caribbean and that there are many opportunities for entrepreneurs here in SVG and across the region. Daswani was discussing a green entrepreneurship within the Global Green Growth Institute on NBC Radio Talk Your Talk program yesterday.
Opportunities, I think every business should look at the green aspect of sustainability and the position that we are in the Caribbean. A lot of natural disasters that we do face on a regular basis. So always have to have some sustainable aspect to your business. But I would encourage green entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs generally, to start looking at the green aspects of businesses. There's a lot of funding, not only from GGGI, a lot of funding are available for green businesses on the OECS. So there's a lot of opportunity to grow your business from natural grant funding. There's a lot of loans available from the banking institutions for green businesses. Actually, they look at green businesses before they look at regular businesses. Mm-hmm. So start looking at the greening of your business. And that's something you can it's very easy to do once you find out this situation. There's a lot of opportunities now to move into green businesses. So it's a collective effort that we're all trying to make a greener, more prosperous future for all in the Caribbean. So we hope that you do join the green trend.
Great. Well, we're glad that you could both be here this morning. I know we planned for a much broader discussion, but we certainly gained some useful insight as to this opportunity.
That's one he said. The Greenpreneurs Incubator Program was designed to provide people with a distinct viewpoint regarding green businesses, including how they operate, the business plans they employed, and the knowledge they need to expand their enterprises.
So the idea is to give them an idea of how green businesses work, what kind of business plans they use, and what kind of knowledge they use to grow their businesses. With Gordon and Bosun, of course, Bosun was one of the accelerator winners, not the incubator winner, and he's one who got the interest-free loan. So for him, his business was a little ahead of what Gordon's business is, but they both got the knowledge of, what do I do when I need to approach investors? How do I approach investors? How do I grow my business from a 6-month business to a 5-year business? They got a lot of training. There was daily training from one of the Qatar business development organizations, which was very exciting. They got to visit a few farms as well, see how organic farms work in that part of the world, because as you know, they don't really have natural fertilization like we do in the Caribbean. So they got to see a different way of how organic farms work. And the main thing was really to bring back that knowledge, not only help their business, but help businesses in their country as well, to share that knowledge with other green entrepreneurs, and to make the fact that we have an ecosystem building right here in St. Vincent and Grenadines as well as the Caribbean. So the idea of this was to not only go there and build your business, build all the businesses in St. Vincent as well.
Earlier this year, 3 Vincentians were among 24 green entrepreneurs selected from across the region to participate in the 3rd cohort of the Eastern Caribbean Greenpreneurs Incubator Program. The Eastern Caribbean Greenpreneurs Incubator Program was launched in 2021 and is a collaborative initiative of the Global Green Growth Institute, the GCGI, and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. It is funded by the Qatar Fund for Development. An event to mark the end of the 3rd and final cohort of the Eastern Caribbean Greenpreneurs Incubator Program will be held here tomorrow, Thursday, December 7th. The Center for Enterprise Development, Inc., the CED, which is the partner business support organization for St. Vincent and Grenadines, will host the end of program showcase tomorrow. The event, which will be held at the CED conference room from 10 a.m. will afford program participants an opportunity to share their experiences. It will also celebrate the achievements of mentees and provide a platform for them to showcase their products or prototypes, as well as discuss the next steps in their business journey. CGGI Communication Specialist Danish Daswani will also address tomorrow's showcase. In other local news now, we hear that a two-day forklift operation and certification training targeting a group of persons who have a valid driver's license and who are actively involved in the response operation following the explosive eruptions of La Soufrière volcano commenced here today at the conference room of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. NEMO Director Michelle Forbes said the training is part of the World Food Program initiative, which NEMO started in August 2022 and will end in September 2024.
Following the volcanic eruption in 2021, the World Food Program came into St. Vincent through the regional response mechanism and has been supporting NEMO in areas of logistic and warehouse in particular, and also some community initiatives. Now, this forklift training is really to increase the capacity of persons operating in the relief management system here in St. Vincent to support NEMO during emergency situations, and of course in day-to-day operations for those entities that have warehouse and relief supplies stored. This initiative in particular, this is the first of the training in the Caribbean, I must say. So St. Vincent and Grenadines is leading the way in being the first country in the Caribbean spearheading this particular training, and the next country will be Trinidad, I think, later on. And we really want to thank the World Food Program and its sponsors, the European Union, the Government of Canada, and the USA Bureau of Humanitarian Affairs who have been supporting this program today. So we have partnered with Jared Inc., which is a safety, occupational health and safety department operating in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to conduct this training. Today we'll focus a lot of this on the safety part of forklift operations, and tomorrow we'll focus on the practical and evaluation of how do we operate a forklift in a best environment to operate the forklift along with the conditions that are necessary. So we are pleased to really commence this initiative here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we want to thank the World Food Program for supporting us and supporting our national programs here through relief and logistics and even social protection with some of the other ministries and entities here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we really didn't have any lack of forklift skills following the eruption. I think a lot of persons had the ability, and they worked with the World Food Program team that was in country at that time to really use the forklift and support the operations during 2021-2022. So today really is now ensuring that they are properly certified and according with the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the traffic regulations, to ensure that they're certified, and also that we can use them in other capacities throughout the civil service and other departments.
NEMO said the objectives of the training are to expose participants to the practical skills in forklift operation, encompassing loading, unloading, and maneuvering, to ensure that participants have a comprehensive understanding of the forklift safety guidelines and regulations through graded written and practical evaluations, to cultivate a safety-first mindset and awareness of potential hazards in a warehouse environment, and to help participants to attain certification to legally operate a forklift. On the weather system now, we hear that the SVG Meteorological Service in its 72 hours outlook issued earlier today says a broad area of moisture associated with a trough system will influence the weather pattern across St. Vincent and the Grenadines up to the end of the forecast period. It says shower activity is forecast to increase gradually, beginning with scattered showers mostly to the south from today, becoming moderate showers, possibly heavy over the weekend. Model guidance is indicating 2 inches of rainfall by Friday night, with further accumulations on Saturday. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flash flooding and landslides or near rivers and streams are asked to exercise caution. It also said easterly winds can vary, ranging between 20 kilometers per hour to 40 kilometers per hour, allowing for breezy conditions at times, varying to east-southeast on Thursday and Saturday. Seas will be slight to moderate in open waters, with swells ranging between 1.2 meters to 1.5 meters on the western coast and 2.0 meters to 2.7 meters on the eastern coast. No significant haze intrusion is forecast, but the Met Service says visibility can be reduced during periods of showers. Head at the Criminal Investigations Department (CID) of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force is said to be actively investigating a shooting incident that occurred in Green Hill on Tuesday, November 5th, 2023, resulting in an individual being treated at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital for gunshot injuries. According to a police news release, reports indicate that Junior Woods, a self-employed resident of Green Hill, and his girlfriend were targeted by an unknown assailant while on their way home in motor vehicle P4556. A blue starlet would sustain gunshot wounds to both legs during the attack. The crime scene was promptly processed by the crime scene unit to retrieve several pieces of exhibit. The police say subsequently Michael Lescott, a 20-year-old unemployed individual from Old Montrose, presented himself at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital with a gunshot wound to his leg. The circumstances surrounding his injuries are under investigation. The SVG police force is urging anyone with information related to these incidents to come forward, noting that all information provided will be treated with the utmost confidentiality. The SVG police force says it remains committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of the community and will spare no effort in bringing those responsible for these incidents to justice. If you see something, you're asked to say something and not cover up for the criminals. Clinical psychologist Dr. Jael Davis said in the Caribbean the crime rate is increasing significantly every day and that the reality of suffering the loss of a loved one through murder triggers an entirely distinct degree of shock and denial. Dr. Davis, who is from Trinidad, was a guest on NBC Let's Face It program yesterday, said death reaches can create a series of emotions, including anxiety.
I think we all hear these statistics, we all hear the reports on the news, and sometimes we still believe that it can never reach our doors. And so it actually reaches your doors, it can create a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of fear. And you don't even know where to start. So I know that you asked, for some of the challenges associated with losing a loved one through murder. And one of the things that make this death unique, losing someone through murder unique, is you're now going to have to be faced with a lot of responses from the community. And I'm honest, as a people, sometimes we can have very judgmental responses. I think you played a great song just now, Earth to Run Red, another youth dead. And we hear young people dying and we immediately think, well, they choose to be in gangs, they choose to be in criminal activity. And so when we hear murder now, almost automatically a lot of people would associate it with something negative, and you associate the victim with negative activity.
She outlined a few of the challenges loved ones have to face in experiencing judgmental responses from the community.
And it's almost as if their family member or their family does not deserve any sympathy. Another one of the challenges that you might see loved ones experiencing is just being bombarded by images, being bombarded by the news. We have become so desensitized as a society. When you look at the mainstream media, when you look at social media, videos, pictures, everything is just circulating. You have the murdered victim, sometimes their picture is there, and a family could be bombarded with this. They may be going on social media, not looking for that information, but it's now everywhere. They can't get away from it. And everybody spreads that, but for the loved one, for the person who's directly affected, it could really create a lot of anxiety. It could create a lot of shock. It creates just emotional distress. One of the other challenges I would say that loved ones experience is having to go through police investigation, sometimes legal proceedings, being in court. This is something that can take years depending on the case. And, I'm thinking about police investigations and legal proceedings, but a lot of times, and I think in recent times especially, the person may not be arrested or charged right away. In fact, arrest is made a lot of the times. And so this loved one now has to live knowing that they can be standing next to the person murdered their loved one at the gas station. They can be next to them in a taxi. And these are some of the reasons why you find, when you have a loved one who was murdered, it's different. The grief is really different.
In regards to the grieving process as a result of a homicide, the clinical psychologist said the most prevalent unhealthy reaction is unforgiveness.
You have a lot of loved ones walking around with resentment, walking around with unforgiveness, and they're just harboring those feelings towards the person, even if the person is not known, even if the person who committed the crime is not identified. They walk around with that weight, and that could be very unhealthy because, as we know, unforgiveness affects us more than the person that we are choosing to not forgive. So having that unforgiving spirit, we are unable to experience peace. I would say that we're unable to experience the peace of God, and we see everything. It's almost like a dark cloud comes over you because you're not just, we may think of it as I'm not forgiving this person, but it affects every area of your life, your spiritual life, your personal life, your professional life, because within you is a lot of anger, it's a lot of hate, it's a lot of resentment. And sometimes we're not, very often actually, we're not aware of how we're acting out on those emotions, how we're projecting those emotions on other people. We're not aware of how we may sometimes be inadvertently plotting against other people. We just develop this bitterness, so to say.
And family physician Dr. Malcolm Grant is advocating for more accountability on local bars for serving alcohol to individuals who are already intoxicated. According to Dr. Grant, who was on WFM Issues at Hand program last Sunday, laws must be implementing holding the local bars accountable for the outcomes in certain situations, noting that alcohol is the drug most frequently used in the Caribbean and is quite detrimental.
I've seen actually bars in St. Vincent serving people when they're tumbling down, and with no, to me, outward sense of responsibility as to, okay, what role do they play if this person gets into an accident on their way home, writes off somebody else, a pedestrian, another person coming home, damages property. And one of the suggestions that I'll be returning to at the end is that we need to pass laws that makes these bars liable to some extent. In other words, you can't be going after the dollar while disregarding the potential impact that the serving of this extra drink is going to have on this individual. Yes, he may go somewhere else and get the drink, but let him go somewhere else and get it. Make it difficult for him. The other thing that I've come across from time to time is I've never seen any individual being asked for ID at the bar here in St. Vincent. In Barbados, I've seen it quite often. So I suspect that there's some individuals who actually are buying liquor from bars here in St. Vincent who are not of what is considered the drinking age, which I think is 18 and above. So, these are things that we have to look at as a society.